Hello, this is Mary McCarley, the Health Education Content Specialist with Goodheart-Willcox and co-author of Comprehensive Health Skills for Middle School. In this video, I'll provide you an overview of our resources available with our 2025 copyright of Comprehensive Health Skills for Middle School and show you how to navigate the online platform. We are Goodheart-Willcox. We've actually been around for over 100 years. For most of those 100 years, we were well known as the premier CTE publishing company. But in 2015, we began creating our health education resources in response to the need for a quality, up-to-date, skills-based resource that was developed by experts in health education and Shape America award-winning Teachers of the Year. Since 2015, we have dominated the health market with our age-appropriate content and skills-based approach, and we've quickly become the most widely used health resource across the United States. Much of our success is due to this award-winning author team, Catherine Sanderson and Mark Zellman. They wrote the text. They also wrote our high school text, if your district is considering that version as well. Having the same author team really allows them to build on concepts and skills over time as students move from middle school into their high school years. Now, myself and Lindsay, we were responsible for the pedagogy. So anything students are doing, all the skills-based activities and assessments, performance tasks, your rubrics, your lesson plans were all developed by us two teachers, both of which are Shape America award-winning Teachers of the Year. It truly is a program developed by teachers for teachers. It is fully aligned to the new National Health Education Standards, the HECAT, and the National Sex Education Standards as well. We provide full integration with learning management systems, and it's also easy to use with Google Classroom, allowing for rostering with Clever and ClassLink. As I mentioned, we provide full integration with learning management systems. Our digital solution expert will work with your LMS admin to load the resources into the course. Everything is fully customizable at the lesson level. So teachers, you can unpublish a lesson and students would not have access to anything within that lesson. So everything is built for you, but it does provide that customization, allowing you to unpublish or even delete items that you don't want. Also, at the very end of each lesson module, you will see a folder. That folder will house the student activities in English and Spanish, the handouts, thus allowing you to assign as a Word or Google Doc, whichever is preferred. We also fully integrate with Schoology as well, all set up in the same format. Both learning management systems like Canvas, Schoology, and others also have auto-graded options. Every lesson has an auto-graded lesson quiz, pre-quiz, and every module has an auto-graded module exam. It's also easy to use with Google Classroom, allowing you to roster with Clever and ClassLink. Teachers, you create your lessons in Google Classroom and you post exactly what you want students to do, either by copying and pasting a link or assigning as a Google Doc. First, I'll provide an overview of our textbook. Here are the modules available with our 2025 copyright of Comprehensive Health Skills for Middle School. Our program is available both in print and digital, and it does match page for page. It includes Module 10, which are the lessons on sexual health, also aligned to the National Sex Education Standards, and teachers appreciate the medically accurate, unbiased information that is presented. Our digital textbook is available in English and Spanish, and it does match page for page. We also meet accessibility guidelines. What that often means for a lot of teachers is if you do have a student who struggles to read, the pages can be read aloud using their built-in screen readers. Also, we partner with Bookshare. So Bookshare is free for all school districts, and it provides additional accommodations for students who have reading barriers. For example, they can follow along karaoke style while it's highlighting and being read to them, or read in Braille. We were very intentional to ensure that all students are represented throughout the pages of our text. There are brightly colored images and infographics to support the visual learner. Every lesson opens with learning outcome statements, key terms, an essential question, and a reading and note-taking activity. There are lots of opportunities to practice those valuable health skills with our built-in features like this one, Building Your Skills, and you can see that we always clearly identify the skill being practiced. There's also case studies. Again, you can see we've identified the skill being practiced. At the end of the lesson, there's a reading summary, critical thinking questions, and another opportunity to practice those valuable health skills. In addition to our textbook, we also have student resources. There are videos and animations and interactive tools for students to practice vocabulary. We also offer a student workbook. Our workbook is skills-based, and it is available both in print and digital. The intention is to extend learning, practice skills, put students in real-life situations and scenarios, ask them questions like, what do you do, what do you say? Our digital workbook is provided as docx files, which is basically Word documents that have already been formatted to upload as a Google Doc. So teachers, you can modify as needed, print, or assign as a Word or Google Doc. It's also available in Spanish. There are additional handouts for students. In the pages of our digital textbook, there are reading checkpoint questions throughout each lesson. Teachers, you'll have a digital copy of these reading checkpoint questions to assign to students. They are in English and Spanish and in that docx format, so you can modify as needed, print, assign as a Word or Google Doc. Also, anything in the pages of the text, if it works well as a digital copy, we've provided it as a digital copy. Also, every lesson has lesson review questions, and every lesson also has a vocabulary activity. We also provide extensive teacher resources. Let's take a look at these. Now think of them as a menu. You likely won't use everything, but pick and choose the resources that best work well for your students. We offer a teacher's edition, both in print and digital. In our teacher's edition, you will see answer keys and the alignment to the new National Health Education Standards. Also, any of the activities that are skills-based, we have leveled those, a 1, 2, or 3, with level 3 being most rigorous, and we provide options to level up and level down. We know that health is always changing, and we want to make sure that your students are always staying up to date. 2 to 4 times per school year, we are going to load new lessons to the teacher platform. We're not going to change the pages of the textbook, but instead provide these as Word documents so you can choose as a teacher to post these for students. For the student, it looks like an extra lesson of the textbook. There's lesson review questions and a skills-based workbook page as well. We also provide course planning guides. I do work with districts to provide customized course planning guides as well. Every lesson has a lesson plan, which begins with the learning outcome statements, standards, key terms, materials needed. Every lesson has a bell ringer. Every lesson has an introduction to lesson activities, classroom activities. And within the classroom activities section, the workbook pages that are skills-based, I also leveled those, a 1, 2, or 3, and provided options for differentiation. You'll find these in the lesson plans. There's independent practice and closure. Every lesson has a PowerPoint presentation and PowerPoint guided notes for the student. In the student resources, I mentioned the reading guide. In the teacher resources, we offer a differentiated version of that reading guide to help guide the struggling reader. There are teacher-directed activities as well to pique students' curiosity and engage them in full class activity and discussion. There are also parent trusted adult engagement homework assignments. These are short homework assignments to engage families and extend learning home. These are also available in Spanish. At the end of the module, teachers, you may choose to give a skills-based summative performance task. Each module typically has 4 different ones you can choose from. Rubrics are always included. Or if you prefer a traditional lesson quiz or module exam, we have that option as well. We also level them a 1, 2, or 3, with level 3 being most rigorous, thus being differentiated by academic ability. However, if your district is integrating with a learning management system like Canvas or Schoology, we provide our question bank files. These will already be loaded for you. There are lesson quizzes, lesson pre-quizzes, and module exams already built for you. Teachers, you can still modify the question, delete the question. Students will take those right within your learning management system, and it does auto grade for you. We also provide standard-based grading summative assessments. There is the summative assessment and a differentiated version of it. And for each performance indicator, I provided a leveled assignment leveled 1, 2, 3, and 3 is proficient and 4 is extending. Lastly, opt-out materials. On that occasion, you may have a parent or guardian opt their child out of a lesson. We have provided the alternative activities for that student. Now let's take a look at the online platform. Once you log in using the username and password that we've provided, you will see Comprehensive Health Skills for Middle School online instructor resources by lesson. Click on it, and you will see the different modules. Choose a module, and on the left-hand side, you will see the English text and the Spanish text for each lesson. As I scroll down, you'll also see the teacher resources, the student resources, and the names of the lessons. If your district is integrating with a learning management system, this will not be the platform that you would use. Your resources would be fully integrated within that learning management system. Let's begin by clicking on the English text. On the left-hand side, you'll see a toolbar. The home button will take you back to the main landing page. I can zoom in and see this page significantly closer. This will be helpful if you're projecting something on your screen as a teacher or if you have a student who is visually impaired. Zoom back out. Both the student and the teacher can search the lesson by a key term or a page number. You're only searching the lesson. At the top, you'll see the lesson name, the learning outcome statements, key terms, an essential question, a reading and note-taking activity. Every lesson will open with an introduction. Every lesson is divided by sections. We know as a teacher, you probably would not assign your students to read the entire lesson at one time. So we have chunked it. And at the end of each section, there are reading checkpoint questions. So as a teacher, you can debrief as a class, or you could assign these as a Word or Google Doc. You'll see vocabulary terms are highlighted. There's images, pictures, charts, infographics throughout. We're very intentional about the smaller paragraph size to increase comprehension, decrease reader fatigue. You'll also notice that I'm scrolling down. By scrolling down, we do meet accessibility guidelines. If your students need the pages read aloud, they can use their built-in screen readers. Here is one of our Building Your Skills features. And each of our features provides an opportunity for students to practice one of the health skills. I'll continue to make my way through the pages of the text. Here's another skills-based feature, case study, GIA self-esteem. And this time we're analyzing influences. I'll continue to the end of the lesson. And at the end of the lesson, you'll see a reading summary, critical thinking questions, and again, another opportunity to practice health skills. Now, teachers, once you have a chance to dive into these assessments, you'll see that multiple modes of engagement was one of the strategies that we used as co-authors. We wanted students to be able to show skill proficiency in multiple ways. This was an overview of our digital textbook. Now, your tab is still open at the top, so you can click the tab to return to Module 4. And I will mention that the Spanish text does match page for page. Now, let's take a look at some of the student-facing resources for Lesson 4.1. First, we do need to make sure that this is checked or filled in. Every single lesson has a reading guide. Just click on it, and when you click on it, it will go to your downloads. Click it to open it up. At the top, I can enable editing and make any changes, print, or assign as a Word or Google Doc. Now, these download as Word documents, but you can upload them to your drive and assign as a Google Doc. Now, the reading guides are a direct pull from the questions from the textbook. So remember those reading checkpoint questions in the textbook? This is a direct pull right from the textbook so that you have a digital copy. Now, depending on the lesson that you're looking at, some lessons will also have a digital copy of an activity from the textbook. So remember GS Self-Esteem? It just worked well as a digital copy, so that we made it a digital copy. Next, workbook pages. Most lessons will have between 3 and 5 workbook pages that you can choose from. Remember, the workbook pages are an extension of the lesson, really encouraging the practice of skills. So often putting kids in real life situations or scenarios. Also, every lesson has a vocabulary activity, and also every lesson does have the lesson review questions. All of these DocX files are also provided in Spanish. Now, teachers, if you're thinking to yourself that I love an editable version, but I don't necessarily want to download each individual file to take a look at it. With our 2025 copyright, we added the zip folder in English and Spanish. So all those DocX files that I just clicked on are also housed in this folder. I'll click on it. So this is all of Module 4, and if I click on it, I will see each individual lesson. So if I click on 4.1, these are the student-facing resources that we just looked at. So as a teacher, I can save these files on my device and assign as a Word document, or I can upload these files to my drive and store everything in my drive, and the files will automatically convert to a Google Doc, whichever is preferred. Again, they're in English and Spanish. Now, in addition to the handouts, depending on the lesson that you're looking at, some lessons may also have a video or animation. Just click on it to view it. You can also view the transcript. Every lesson has the English e-flashcards. Click it to flip it. It does say it out loud. The student can remove it from the deck and click next to go to the next one. Every lesson has those in English, English, Spanish, and full Spanish. Every lesson has a matching activity. This is actually just intended for students to practice. I'm just typing in a few answers and I'll click check answers. And the program does prompt me to try again and continue to try until I get them all right. So again, just an opportunity for students to practice. Every lesson has a vocabulary game. It is set up similar to Jeopardy! Whether the student gets it right or wrong, it does tell them the correct answer. Every lesson has a spelling challenge. Play the term, try to spell it correctly. Every lesson has a glossary, and every lesson has an audio summary. So these were all the student-facing resources for Lesson 4.1. If I scroll to another lesson, you'll find that the format is all very similar. So teachers, you are picking and choosing the resources that you want to use with your students, depending on your teaching style and the needs of your students. I'm going to switch to teacher-facing resources. Every lesson has a lesson plan. Just click it, open it to view it. We do provide all of our lessons plans as in that docx format, so you can click Enable Editing as needed. You'll see that every lesson opens with a bell ringer, introduction to lesson activities, classroom activities. You'll see options for differentiation embedded throughout. And again, as I mentioned earlier, even the workbook pages that are skills-based, we have leveled those a 1, 2, or 3 and provided options to differentiate. Every lesson has scope and sequence. This is a document that just shows the teacher all the activities and the skill being practiced with each activity. Every lesson has a pre-quiz. Every lesson has a post-quiz. So this is the Word version of the post quiz. Teachers, if your district is integrating with a learning management system like Canvas or Schoology, these are the question bank files that would be imported into your learning management system. So rather than the Word document, these questions would already be built for you. The students can take it right in the learning management system, and it does auto grade. Every lesson also has an easier version of the reading guide. Every lesson has a PowerPoint presentation. We do provide this as a true PowerPoint. You can enable editing, make any changes you would like. We've also formatted our PowerPoints to upload as Google Slides. Our PowerPoints are a great combination of content, think about it questions, and skills slides as well. If you want your students to follow along during the PowerPoint, we do offer our PowerPoint guided notes. And depending on the lesson you're looking at, some lessons will also have teacher-directed activities, and some lessons will have parent-trusted adult engagement homework assignments. And these are short homework assignments to engage families and extend learning home. Again, if I scroll to another lesson, you'll find that the format is very similar. Again, teachers, if you prefer not to download the individual files, we do provide our instructor resource zip file here, which houses all those documents and the PowerPoint presentation. Every module has a teacher's edition. I'll click on it. I'll choose a lesson, and I'm going to highlight our commitment to differentiation. So again, as I mentioned, anything in our textbook, if it is skills-based, we have provided the level and options to differentiate. Lastly, assessments and answer key section. Once a teacher is done with a module, every module has the assessment and answer key section. It includes a review day lesson plan, a letter for families that just highlights the lessons included in that module, your answer keys. They are divided by lesson. If you want to play vocabulary bingo with your students, or you want your students to do a student-directed, self-paced review activity. I call them my menus. Rubrics are included. Now, once you're considering your performance task or a traditional exam, you'll have both options. But for the teacher that likes that more skills-based summative, this is where you're going to find it. As I mentioned earlier, each module has typically 4 different performance tasks you can choose from. So if you want your students to practice asking for help, or developing a wellness action plan, or advocating, researching, just choose the summative, click on it, open it up. Now the first page is typically going to be directions for the teacher. A step-by-step guide on how to do this activity with your students. the actual task for the student as well. Now, we know that a lot of districts are dividing this program by 2 or 3 grades, so I was very intentional when creating these to make it as easy as possible for teachers to be able to modify. So if you didn't cover lesson 4.1 or 4.2, you could easily delete those scenarios and still use the assessment. The last page is always your rubric. Now, for the teacher that prefers that more traditional exam, easy, intermediate, and difficult. Again, this is the word version of the exam. If your district is integrating with a learning management system, you would not need to access this version, but instead, it would all be already imported into your LMS, and it auto grades for students. So these are the resources available at the module level. Now, regardless of what module you're navigating, how you navigate those will be exactly the same. Lastly, let's take a look at course planning. At the very top, 2 to 4 times per school year, we are going to be loading brand new lessons to this platform. Just click on it. This one is on coping with loneliness. As a teacher, you can enable editing. The first few pages are for you to learn about the topic, background information, your learning outcome statements, the correlation to the new National Health Ed standards, key terms, materials needed, and a step-by-step guide on how to do this activity with your students. Eventually, you'll get to the student-facing handout. Just make sure to click Enable Editing, delete the first 5 pages, and save a new copy for students. This is all written by our authors, so it is on grade level. And once you eventually get to the end of the lesson, you will see the text-dependent questions. And there's also a skills-based assessment as well. Make sure to delete the last page because that is answer keys. So here you'll find our 2 to 4 brand new lessons posted for teachers every school year. Best practices for teachers, course planning guides, the correlation to the new National Health Ed standards, National Sex Education standards, additional rubrics and templates, the standard-based grading assessments, both the summative and formative, and opt-out materials. So on that occasion, you do have a student whose parent guardian does opt them out. These are the alternative activities for them. This time, I'm going to click the home button to go back to the main landing page. To bring this video to a close, our resources are loved across the United States. They are developed by experts in health education and Shape America award-winning Teachers of the Year. They are aligned to the new National Health Education Standards, National Sex Education Standards. It is a 2025 copyright skills-based resource, but we still provide those ongoing lesson updates. We do provide full integration with learning management systems, but it's also easy to use with Google Classroom, and we provide those rostering options. We provide extensive Spanish resources, including the digital textbook, digital workbook, the handouts, and more. We provide all of our files in that docx format so that teachers can easily modify as needed to meet the unique needs of students and assign as a Word or Google Doc, whichever is preferred. We provide a lot of choice for teachers. We know that it's not always easy to meet the needs of students, so we want to provide choice so that you can pick and choose what is best for your students. And lastly, we are absolutely committed to the training, professional development, and ongoing support of teachers throughout the life of their contract. Thanks so much for your time, and I do hope you have a wonderful day.